All right, whoever out there that could use this, hope it finds you well and hope it helps you as much as it's helped me. This past weekend I saw the Don't Set Goals article come out through the street parking community, and some people text me, shot me emails, whatever, kind of asking if I had something to do with it. Obviously not, but 100% agree, and I'm going to share my version. I've kind of lived by the don't set goals, make decisions mantra for a long time. It took me quite a while to really figure it out and learn how to articulate it. But I'm going to share that with you guys, and again, hopefully it helps you as it has me. So telling someone to not set goals is it's a super bold statement, and in my opinion, when you make a statement like that, you better have some substance to back it up, and I believe I do, so I'm going to share it with you. Board's a little bit away, but I will zoom in on it when I'm done, and yeah, feel free to do what you want with it. So, setting goals. I would encourage you to not do that. If you've grown up as an athlete, I usually share this with athletes, or have had any line of success in any lane, element, whatever. I'm sure you've been talked to about goal setting being important. So I'm going to kind of break this down and dissect it for you and give you my story. So I have a flow to the whole not setting goals thing. That's called making a decision, as I mentioned. So there's a process to that, and if you understand the process, it gets really, really cool, because you can start applying it to whatever you want. You can apply it to academics, you can apply it to athletics, you can apply it to your financial well-being, you can apply it to your family, marriage, whatever it is that you're trying to do. You can leave the goals behind, start making decisions, and being successful as you want to be. And I'll tell you more about my story as we get into it. So the first part of this, setting or making decisions, not setting goals, is what I call what one. What one is the super fun part and the easy part, because in what one, it's simple. What do you want to do? You want to take the family to Disneyland. You want to become a world champion. You want to be promoted to company officer, whatever it may be. Whatever it is, it can be anything, literally anything. I always tell the story of Kyle Maynard whenever I'm giving this presentation about him climbing a mountain. Quadriplegic climbing a mountain is that's a tall order, and there had to be some thought process there and some decision making that went into that. But literally anything you want to do, you can do it. So what one is, what do you want to do? Two, super important, is why. Why do you want to do whatever it is that you just thought about wanting to do? And the why is your trump card, and I'll talk more about that in a second. I'll make a note right here. After why is also important. It's all important, but just understanding the flow. What to takes some brutal honesty, looking yourself in the mirror and being honest about it. What to is what does it take? What does it take to do whatever it is that you want to do? And in all honesty, if you're not writing down the questions and answers for what to, you're not going to be successful, because it takes some actual dissecting and analysis of what it is that you're trying to do and what does it actually take. A lot of times from an athletic perspective, the amount of training hours, the time commitments, the competing, the prep, all those different things that go into it. But that's super important as well. So we have what do you want to do? Why do you want do it. What does it take? And then the last part of this is willing. Are you willing to do what it takes to get done what you're trying to do? Whatever it is you're trying to do, are you willing to do that? And then again, you have that brutal answer yourself the question, looking yourself in the mirror, and we make a decision. Yes or no. And to me, that is the process to making decisions over setting goals. Because once I've done this, once I've gone through all this analysis, I look at myself honestly and I answer the question, yes or no. And I always ask this too, is it okay to say no? No, I'm not willing to do all that. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's your life. Do what you want with it. But if there's something you want to do, making it a goal is not the answer. Making a decision to do that is the answer. I always use this kind of analogy. How often do you hear someone say something along the lines of, I went to the gym today, lifting, and I was planning to do this many sets or this amount of weight or go for this time, but this happened. ABC 1, 2, 3. You hear that often, right? It just happens. I was going for 10 rounds on the workout, but I got 9 plus 5 reps. I was trying to push a 6-minute mile. I was just a little bit over, whatever that may be. You hear those things, but you've never heard somebody say, we decided to take the family down to Florida over spring break, or I decided to compete at XYZ event. And then there'd be a subsequent, but then we didn't, or but then I didn't. And I understand that's just verbiage, but it's important. It's important and it matters. And if you can adopt that mindset, you're going to be successful. So when I got to why, I mentioned there'd be something special about the why, and there absolutely is. What's special about the why is that throughout any process, most likely there's going to be setbacks. You have to account for those. You have to plan on those. And the why has to be strong enough that when those setbacks come, you're able to persevere and keep moving forward. So the why has to be strong enough to be able to stand up to this. So one of the stories I usually tell, come here, bud, about just one of my athletic pursuits. And again, the neat thing about this is once you learn to apply it, you can apply it to anything you want to. So, athletic pursuit, 2008, I decided, through my process, that I was going to go for the three-peat in the Firefighter Combat Challenge, the King of the Jungle. At the time, I knew that it would be special doing it. We had one or two-time champs, and even since then we've had one or two, no, there's maybe more, 2 or 3, but no one had ever did the three-peat. And so I kind of went through this, and back then I didn't really have an articulation of this or a dissection like I do now. It was in my head, and this came years later. I was doing this, I just hadn't grown enough, really, I guess, to put it out kind of like this with actual content. But I knew that that's what I was going to do. I made the decision that's what I was going to do. Inevitably, so for athletes, usually your setbacks come in 2 ways. Usually it's injury or illness. Those happen all the time. We get sick before we compete, we get hurt, whatever it is, those tend to happen. Sometimes we have life stuff that pops up or, whatever, stuff like that, but typically it's injury or illness. So, first event of the year, we're in Washington, D.C., and I'm getting ready to race phone's ringing. I'm not answering it because I'm trying to warm up. I think we're already called to the ready tent, but it keeps ringing, so I pick it up. Pick it up and answer, and that's right then in that moment when I told that he was going to be born with cancer. So for me, that I'd already made my why, but another one had kind of grown right there. So a couple things about that. I had every reason to not continue that season. Every reason to just set the goal aside and say, yeah, down the road I could do that, or 2 times is enough. But the why was strong enough, and it grew in that moment. So the why, one of the biggest whys for me is today, right? Whenever we are 12 years later from when I did that, I can stand here today and tell him, you're going to be given a lot of hurdles, you're going to experience a lot of setbacks, and you're going to be given 100 reasons to not do something. You got to find one to do it. And you were my reason to keep doing it. I needed him to not quit and to beat cancer and still be here today, right? Hang out with me, get ready to work out, chasing his little sister around. I needed that from him. So I felt like in return, I needed to be a person that keeps going, doesn't quit, no matter what the hurdle, right? Sometimes we have mountains in front of us when it comes to setbacks. Sometimes they're, small puddles to run through or jump over. Nonetheless, you're going to struggle getting through them, especially if they're of significance, if your why is not strong enough. And my why was, and whatever. He's here today. I feel good being able to stand here in front of him today and said, man, crazy times, and so thankful and blessed he's here, but I didn't quit. If anybody knew, I think Shane Farmer might be the only person on the planet that knows what my training routine was like when he was going through cancer and trying to get ready for Worlds and all that. It was the worst. It was ridiculous. But I can stand here today and say, yeah, man, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep pushing. You can do this, and make your own decisions for him to keep moving forward. So that's really the breakdown in my, I guess, articulation of making decisions, not setting goals. And if you understand this, man, the world's yours. You can just keep going and going and going. So I'll break it down for you one more time. What is it? What do you want to do? It can be anything. You want to be a homeowner. You want to be a business owner. You want to be promoted to whatever position in your job. You want to be a world champ or a professional athlete. Whatever it is, what do you want to do? Why are you doing this? Super important. What does it take is what number 2. And you write those down. Write those down, because if you don't, you're not going to dissect and break that down accurately, in my opinion. And then be brutally honest. And if you literally have to go to the mirror and ask yourself, read off the list of what does it take, and answer yourself, are you willing to do that or not? Go do it. Go do it. And know that through this process, when you're pursuing whatever this is, setbacks are going to come. You will be prepared. You will have already made a decision, and you're going to see this bad boy through. You're going to do it. And then when that's all done, you go right back up top, and you do it again. And again, and again, and again, until your time's up on this earth. Cool? We got a workout to do.